What up? Will Crack Lemonade here, and I am back with the final issue of the PlayStation Underground disc-based magazine. They did say CD magazine, but on the PS2 it's a DVD, so now it's disc-based. And
Hope I'm not in
like I
trouble.
said in the last video, I really do dig Army Men Green Rogue. It is fairly unfortunate. I didn't really get into the Army Men franchise. Like, there wasn't really much appeal to me. But at the same time, it is very cool that you get to experience so many different games in these type of demo discs. This is something I wouldn't have bought on my own, but at the time, maybe if I came across this demo and I played that game, I probably would have. But yeah, is what it is. Not really my thing. I don't think I would go back and play it. And just because there's so many and I have a backlog of games I already own that are a mile long. Now moving on, we're playing Red Faction. And one thing I do want to say about this demo disc is this is like right when the PlayStation 2 was new. This was before uh, Zone of the Enders. The cover game of this magazine is Zone of the Enders, the feature demo of this game. And it's just funny to think about in hindsight because people bought Zone of the Enders initially back in 2001 because it came with a demo of Metal Gear Solid 2. I'm not sure how well that game would have done done had it not come with a copy of the demo of Metal Gear Solid
No time
2.
to run, Parker. Guards are coming from all
That's
directions.
just
Grab your
my
turret. Get
thoughts.
ready.
I have nothing to back this up. And here we have a demo of Red Faction. Red Faction is a game that I actually do still own. I haven't played it in years. And I don't know. I don't remember if I played Red Faction 2 or if it was just the first one. But the big deal about Red Faction at the time was the entirely destructible environments. Like, there was a path that you could take, and you could use a rocket launcher to blow a hole in the wall to create a shortcut through the thing. That was kind of its sales pitch to the first person shooter genre. And I think it was a good game. Looking back at it, I completely forgot how to play this, and I don't know, quite honestly, if this is a particular, like, what particular part of the game that this demo is supposed to take place in, because I haven't played the full game in years. But I think in terms of being able to play games, have access to previews of certain games, and getting an idea of what is coming out, CD based consoles kind of had it on lock. There wasn't, to my knowledge, any kind of thing that existed like this for the Super Nintendo or Nintendo
Ultros disabled this
64.
door.
for obvious reasons. It would be more expensive to do that. That would be a lot of a collaborative effort. But with the PlayStation Magazine, there was also the Dreamcast Magazine. And I believe that did come with demo discs. I could be wrong, but I would also have to look further into that. And then, with the Xbox, there was an Xbox magazine that came with Xbox demo disc. And for all of the, CD-based consoles, the exception of GameCube, I also think that GameCube was not in on this trend. There are probably like sampler discs that do exist for GameCube, but I don't think there was like any kind of like Nintendo Power initiative to bring that to a a demo disc situation. So with the main consoles at the time, there was a need for demo disc because the internet did not exist in the way that it exists now, where you can have access to trailers and you can download demos, and you don't actually need physical media to experience a preview of the game. You can just turn on your console, go to the shop area of your console, and just either buy a game or download a demo if it's available. I also am not sure, but at least on the PlayStation 5, it feels like demos are becoming fewer and farther in between. Like they offer betas for some game, and some games do have playable demos, but it doesn't feel like a common practice anymore. But this could just be a me thing looking back at all of these demos, and I still have a pile of discs to get through on my own time because this opened a rabbit hole, and I'm going to get to the beginning point of this whole journey in a later video with another demo disc, specifically a memory for all people in the year 2004 who subscribed to the PlayStation Underground and would get the free demo discs. Like, I think there was like a summer disc and a winter disc. I think it was like 2 times a year because they weren't doing a paid thing. And ultimately, my membership of the PlayStation Underground from the year, I think probably like 2003, 2004 to 2007 when the PlayStation 3 came out and PlayStation officially sent out like an email saying that they were shutting down the PlayStation Underground. You would get these demo discs that were basically independent of the official US PlayStation magazine. I have 4 issues of the official US PlayStation magazine. I have 1 issue where I actually have the magazine and the matching demo disc, and that one is for the issue covering Def Jam Fight for New York. And I definitely will talk about that later because why miss an opportunity to talk about Def Jam Fight for New York, the popularity of Def Jam, and experience a demo of it in the process if there is a demo, like a playable demo and not just a trailer. I'm not sure because I have the disc and it's one of those that I have to replay before I you know remember what's on there because and I just kind of go like with these demo discs when I'm recording them, and I hate to go. I'm sorry to go on this tangent, but I just like to explain it. When I play these demo discs, I want to play them as if I was playing the demo disc for the first time. So I just kind of set the recording software up and go through the demo disc my own way and experience some of the games. I'm not good at a lot of them. A lot of them are outside of like a genre that I'm used to, and that's fine. But it is just about like going through this and experiencing it. And these videos, the goal is to share the experience with you. And in terms of the last game that I was playing, Star Wars Starfighter, I didn't know what was going on. I did not understand that game at all. And Star Wars at the time was going through a little bit of oversaturation with the TV show, the Clone Wars TV show, and all of the video games that they were putting out during that time period without like really any accompanying movies or anything like that. There was so much Star Wars on the PlayStation 2. There are so many Star Wars games on the PlayStation 2. And here is Winback. I don't remember this game. It reminds me of Spy Fiction. And I think there's another game that I'm thinking about when it comes to like spy games. I don't remember what the controls were. They didn't seem from this demo, they probably weren't straightforward. But I can't tell you what the control scheme felt like for that. But I did go in there. They took me out, and I was just like, "Nope, I'm not even gonna figure this out." So that's also why I don't remember what that played like. And here we have the titular demo for this demo disc, Zone of the Enders. And in terms of hype around this game, I don't think there was any. I remember that my neighbor got a PlayStation 2 before I did because I got mine like after Metal Gear Solid 2 came out, and Metal Gear Solid 2 was my first game. I had to actually like it was the first game. It was the first system I ended up putting money towards, and like I had to, uh, you know, cut grass and do like all kinds of things to save up some money, and yeah, like I had a deal worked out with my uncle, and I had to save up some money. He was gonna put up the rest, and he got me the console, and that was like the first console that I owned brand new. That was the first console that wasn't a hand me down. So I do love the PlayStation 2. PlayStation 2 era has a special place in my heart. Zone of the Enders, not so much. I didn't play this when it was out. And like I said, most of the appeal in Zone of the Enders was the demo for Metal Gear Solid 2, because Metal Gear Solid 2 was so hyped. It was a game that I don't even know what people were expecting. I don't know what expectations, or specifically remember what expectations I had for that game. But it, you know, everybody was shocked when Raiden was revealed. Some people were mad. I remember my friend just made fun of his voice and the way he said freeze because it was so high pitched. But it's impossible to say that that was a bad experience with the game. Like, I think at the end of the day, people were shocked. But it was a great game. It was a game that, when it came out, it received 10 out of 10 across the board from like every game reviewer. Or some magazines did a 5-star scale and some did it 1 out of 10. I believe the official PlayStation Underground. I keep blending those names. The official US PlayStation magazine did a 5-star scale. Electronic Gaming Monthly, I also believe, did a 5-star scale. Game Informer did out of 10. And there's probably some other magazines that I am not thinking of right now. But the rating system, there wasn't really a standard rating system. It was whatever rating system that the magazine felt like doing at the time. But across the board, Metal Gear Solid 2 got a 10 out of 10. And what's funny is, in my Twin Snakes video, I shared a scan from one of the game magazines that had the Xbox Substance ad. And in there, there's actually the review for Substance, and it got like a 9.25 or something like that. It got less than a 10 because there were frame rate issues. There are some issues with the Xbox version of Metal Gear Solid 2. However, at the time, it added a lot more content. People like the VR missions. Like, Metal Gear Solid VR missions was sold as a standalone game in the US. It was sold, along with Integral in Japan. But, it was sold as a separate disc here. And people loved that because a lot of folks just wanted to get more Metal Gear Solid gameplay. And the the commercials for VR missions. The trailer for VR missions often showed the mystery section where there are interiors. So it made it look like you're actually playing like additional missions in the Metal Gear Solid game, but when you got the game, you saw that there's just 300 missions that you had to get through. And I will say that those games were great. I started to play through Zone of the Enders on the PS3 because I have the HD collection. I did not get far into it. So, again, I just have a very neutral opinion of Zone of the Enders. Most of my memories around it is just based off of the hype that it gave Metal Gear Solid 2. And unfortunately, I think it did not work out for that series in terms of having multiple sequels past Zone of the Enders 2. But, you know, that's a conversation for another day. Anyways, this has been part 2. I will be back with part 3 of this look into the last issue of the PlayStation Underground magazine. This has been Crack Lemonade. Thank you for watching, and peace out.